Hi there, welcome back to my channel here. Um, Welcome to 30 minutes of my day. It's a little jiggly. I'm handheld right now. Um, One of you lovely commenters on Instagram was hoping to actually see my stack of baskets that I use to keep when I've got more than one journal. Well, actually, even when I'm doing one journal, I still will keep everything in a basket. Um, but there's a way that I keep them definitely when I have more than one. So we'll go over. So those of you who feel nauseated when a camera moves, sorry, it's going to move. There's my little Kirby when she was a puppy, my screensaver. Let's just move that down. So I keep it here in my corner where it's pretty useless because I have a table here and a table here. But it's handy because I've got it on a Lazy Susan, so I can grab what I need, and I stack them kitty corner. Some people say catty corner. I think they're interchangeable, but I grew up saying kitty corner. So, like, here's Florence's basket that I'm working on right now, so that's why she's on top. Experiment number 3. Right now, that bookkeeping book is being called the bookkeeper, so I don't know. And then the bottom book, that big blue one, um, I keep calling it Violet because the picture that I will be putting on the cover has a little pose, a little, what is it, a nosegay when it's a tiny little bouquet, I think it's called, of violets. So, and that's the name of the painting. So I've been calling that book Violet, even though the book itself is not even violet covered. But that's what I do, and I guess I need to start another one to put in um, the little book that I did a la Kelly from Book and Paper Arts. So today's the day, huh? Today we start with our 100 day of, if you're doing it, 100 days of art. So I will be doing that actually tomorrow because I'm recording this on Saturday. So, but we're going to pretend for the sake of YouTube, today's the day. Let's see if anything's changed on my wall since we're handheld. There's my babies. There they all are. Um, this is rather new. I put it together. I collect frames that I enjoy. And then I put this old vintage thingamajiggy in it because that ribbon right there I thought matched that frame really nicely. I had these garlands of stars up down in our living room at Christmas time, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to put one along my wall. So I brought it upstairs and put it along my wall. I don't think anything else has changed much in my little room here for now. So I'm going to be doing some sewing today, so there will be a lot of stop and start because I can't bring my tripod back and forth from, hold your breath, over here where I do my work, and then roll around and over here where I sew. So I'm just going to pause and start and pause and start, and then that's the way I'm hoping to do it today. So let's get going. I'm going to pause you now and get the camera into the tripod, and we'll get started. We're going to be working still on signatures for Florence. So, okay, we are over here. So what I've been doing is getting things ready, adding my lace now, because once we've sewn it in to a text block, it's very hard to do any more page sewing. It's still doable, but it's very tricky. So I'm trying to get that all done. And I want to find the last there. So this one doesn't have any yet. I think this is long enough for the whole. It is. Aren't they cute? This was actually white, and I found an entire, like the spool that fabric stores have, where you say, I'd like 3 yards of that, please. I found the entire spool at my local thrift store for, I believe I paid $2 for it. So we're going to do that. Now I'm going to first glue it in place. Those others are simply glued in right now on the other signatures. So this is signature 9. They're simply glued, lightly glued in place with some art glitter glue. Let's see if this is, I haven't used it in a few days. There we go. There we go. So I was working in here this week, but I find, as I've mentioned before, I find some days I get more done when I don't turn my camera on. There we go. And it just turned out to be one of those weeks. Plus, it also just turned out to be one of those weeks where I was sore and achy. So, which is par for the course. And let's get that out of the way. So it was what it was. And then I try to remind myself that there are YouTube creators who actually only do a video once a week. So then I try not feel badly. But I know it sounds strange. Those of you who have channels and do similar kinds of videos will get it. It is, I literally do miss you when I don't do a video, because I feel like I'm talking to you right now. I can see all your names in my comments. Those of you, there are some of you that comment every single time. It's so lovely, and it feels like there's genuine friendships there. There are. And there's many of you that comment quite often. And again, feels like, friends just getting in touch. And new people, well, what a joy when someone can say, hi, new here, just found you. I'm over in wherever, Wisconsin, England. It's lovely. And even though I'm talking to my phone, the window, and Kirby, who's asleep under the sewing table, it feels like you're here, and it's nice. So, my intention is to eventually go back to recording as frequently as I can, especially since my recordings are not fancy edited tutorial type. Some people are so talented. Not only can they create good good journals, but they actually know how to then make a video and have it be really interesting. You know, like when they put a funny little blurb in, like a few hundred minutes later. You know, Nick the Booksmith does that all the time. And you laugh and that sort of thing. I just can't do it. And plus, I just don't think it's in my style of who I am. My style is very much like if you were at my house, we'd go in the kitchen and sit at the kitchen table and I'd put the kettle on. And that's the way I consider my style of videotaping. So instead, we're not at my kitchen table, we're at my art table, and it's as if you're sitting right there and we've both got a mug of tea and I'm getting some work done and we're chit-chatting. I still have a few more little pieces that I just want to sew here and there. There will still be lacy things. Let's do this one. There will still be, or maybe I'll put you onto the butterflies. No. I'm going to put you here. There will be lacy things that have, oh my. Sometimes even art glitter glue can do the messy thing that 3-in-1 and Fabri-Tac can do. And I can't figure out why it decides when it's going to do that. But for me, that's when it's telling me time to buy a new bottle and a new cap, Catherine. Which one's the right way? That's the correct way. Let's put you there. So, so that's the way I think of my style of recording. And I'm okay with it. Most of you certainly seem to be okay with it. And it's just lately, like I said, I have had many weeks for the past year and a half where I go missing in action. I think I want a few more in here. I'm going to pause and go find my little lace snippet bag. Okay, so I'm looking at the profile. Let me get this cover out of the way before I damage it in some way. We'll talk about these in a little bit. I'm looking at this profile, looking down, and there are some things sticking out here and there from sort of the middle down, but there really doesn't seem to be much sticking out from up here. I like this. I was going to use it for something else because I can feel the glue on it. I think it's sticking out too far and it fights with, I used the last of my lady lace. I had this lace doily that had these ladies all around the edge. Aren't they pretty? And Florence is getting the last two ladies for the bottom. And I feel like if I use that whole piece sticking out the side, it competes with the ladies. So I'm going to trim this back a bit and put it in. So I think I'm going to take a good inch off of it. And I may have to re-glue those raw ends. So I hope you're doing well. You know what? We can save that. That might go somewhere. You just never know. Do those feel like they're... That feels like it could possibly want to start unraveling. So I'm just going to... That feels okay. And those feel okay. So it's just that one little area. Just going to sort of rub it in. There, and we'll let that dry. Now I have this. I think it was, because it's already, it's in a loop. You You can see where it was joined. And I've tea-dyed it. I've since tea-dyed it. I'm sure it was given to me by someone wonderful. I just want one of these. So we'll start here, and we'll just take one of these and just make a little tab. Well, maybe we'll put one up. We haven't got anything sticking out the top yet, do we? Let's put one sticking out the top. There we go. Alrighty, so we'll put some glue on these raw ends. I've got my stamps out for a reason. Again, it has to do with those papers that I moved. I'm going to get a fresh, I'm going to flip this over because that ink is making me worried. There we go. Let's just put some glue along here just to prevent, or at least slow down, any fraying that it might want to do. So if you live somewhere where it's cold, I hope you're keeping warm, especially our poor friends up there in Nova Scotia. We have friends and family in Nova Scotia. And they are getting pummeled, absolutely pummeled with snow this winter. Us, not so much. We've had some in the past few days, but not nearly what we normally will have had for at this point in February. Usually at this point in February, hubby and I are somewhere in the ocean, sitting on our balcony, going, look at the color of that water. I should keep count how many times we'll say it as we sit out on our balcony and just look at the color of that water. And we love to watch for, you honestly can see stingrays swim by, or dolphins, or turtles. Sea turtles swim by, especially when you're in more shallow, warm waters. Depending on where you are, if you go up the coast, we tend to stick to the Caribbean and then also up the East Coast. And going up the East Coast, it's very common to see whale tails coming up and out of the water, which is such a treat to see. And also in the Bay of Fundy, we saw little seal heads popping in and up and down out of the Bay of Fundy, which is fun. So now let's see. I wonder if I put you on Edith, if that sticks out far enough. Let's see. Maybe one of the smaller ones on Edith. If I put you on Edith, you would still stick out quite a bit. No, sorry, Edith. Yeah, you're going on there. Oh, there's one of my hairs. For these next few journals that when they eventually get made and make their way over to my Etsy shop, if you end up being one of the people who decides you'd like to make a home for this, whatever journal it is, if it arrives and my hairs are in it, I apologize. I am just shedding worse than a dog. Thank goodness, so far, my mother's mother blessed me with her thick Irish black hair, and it is it has been a blessing to me. Now this has got a little, just a little tippy tab there, but it's not viewable when the signature is closed. So I want one of these sticking out. Where do we want it? Maybe on the back here. So although this is a tip out, I've done a lot of stenciling with this particular stencil. Although this is a tip out, you can still sew on it. Just open this up before you put it in your machine, and that way it'll open up like that and it works just fine. Now I want to maybe put it up here so that there's a bit of balance. And then I can also, something I don't need for sewing. See, I want to do some ziggy-zaggies and things like that with these laces and ribbons, and also it gives them extra hold so that I know they're not going anywhere. They're not going to fall off when they arrive at your home. That's one of my OCD worry things, is that my journals stay intact for you. Is I'll still be able to put some paper tabs in, and also like paper clip tabs that have lace tied to them. There's so many different ways to have fun little scraps of fabric and paper. Maybe we'll put you on here. Fabric and paper sticking out the different areas of your book. I don't want that up too high. I'm going to put you there. All right, let's take a look and see what this profile looks like now, and see if I'm happier with it. Oh yes, I'm happier with it. That looks nice and messy and all sortsy, because it's got all sorts of messy looking laces. I have a feeling when I'm done, all 4 of these books will be similar in spirit. They will be spiritual sisters. But of course they'll be very different appearance-wise, because one's a bookkeeping book, one was the works of Gautier, and one is an encyclopedia volume, and one was a music book. So all different originally books, but now will eventually become all sorts books, because that's what I'm in the mood for. So I don't think my brain can handle a theme right now. I'm hoping by spring my brain will be able to handle a theme. I've got a pretty bird book over there. I've got several really pretty little garden books that would be nice. I'd like to use one of the garden books, I think, and just completely only use Edith Holden. I think that would be a fun book to do, a garden book with just and only the illustrations and tags be Edith Holden, because I have enough books that I can spare a great deal of Edith Holden to one book. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is pause, go over and sew this. I will be using black thread through the whole thing, because a great deal of Florence is black. So, and the thread here is black, so for continuity I will be using black thread. Whether it seems like it matches or not, I will be black. It is black. All right, so we're first pause, and off I go to sew this page here. Usually what I will do when I'm doing this sewing stage is I'll open the signature that it came from, and I will put the folios sideways across it so that I know when I come back where it was within the signature, and I can put it back into the place where I had it. Because believe it or not, I even choose how I want the folios situated because of the different sizes, the different colors laying one upon the other, that sort of thing. So there's a reason for it all. This is a cool book I have on architectural drawings of Victorian books. And I can't remember if I told you that already or not, but bear with me. Be right back. Okay, done. So I probably should have done this from the other side, but that's all right. Simply, and I will show you why in a second. I keep track of my threads. I'm more careful now. Dot was not one to lick threads off the floor. Thank goodness, because of that stage I went through where I was sewing literally hundreds and hundreds. I should have kept track of all the masks I sewed during the first part of the pandemic when even hospitals were running out of masks. I was sewing masks for the NICU for our local hospital for the nurses. I have a picture of them. They sent me a picture of them wearing all the pretty masks. I even used up all my fabric, and Nancy donated. She even pre-cut. And she sent me thread because I used up all my thread during that. Anyhow, I could just drop thread on the floor at will, and Dot never cared. She didn't bother her in the least. But Kirby, even though this is her birthday month, she will be 2 this month. Can you believe it? She still very much would lick up threads. And threads even this long can get tangled up in digestive tracts of pets. So I'm just pushing down the little volcano bumps and giving a little bit of ink there. And then now, see what I mean? Normally, previously, a couple of years ago, I would have said, now where was this? What signature was this in? And where was it in the signature? This is the way I know. Now I'll look through and see if there was anything else I put in here, but I don't think there was. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's get you out of the way. And even you out of the way. All right, so here's, and since it's the center, I'm just going to take it out. I'm just going to do a little bit of stitching along here. Okay, so just a simple one for that one. And I think we've got, so it's the outside one, so I'll just leave that there for now. So here, in this case, what I will do, if I sewed it like this, it wouldn't be that much of a disaster. It would just mean that has to stay this way because the sewing would show up here. But by opening it up, the sewing will be on the inside. You'll see in a second. Okay, so this is what I mean. Oh, I did a little Chinooki tangle there. As ever, I have already tied them off. I tie off the knots on, I pull it through and tie them off. And the new owner, if they're not a threads hanging out kind of person, trim it down real close and don't have threads. And then the other side simply looks like that. So it still opens full, but it still has a little tab on it. So that one's done. Let's go, we're on to number 3 here. So I think number 3 just has this one. Pretty sure. And it's the center. So I will leave this here and go do a little bit of, I purposefully, as you saw me do on other ones, just did wrinkles with the glue. So hold on. Okay, so pre-sewing these ribbons on, in case you were wondering, let me find this, doesn't prohibit me from still doing some collaging and slipping the collaging, just lifting that up and slipping the collaging underneath so it still appears all cohesive. It's very doable, and this is just, it just makes your life easier to sew. This I could probably fit if I had sewn it all together and thought, oh rats, I really wanted that ribbon right there. I probably could find a way to do, I call it sewing machine calisthenics, and I could find a way to fit it in and fit it underneath the free arm and you know, pull the flatbed out off of it. But to do it now is just so much easier. So let's see, it looks like we have a couple in this one. We have a little one down here. We're going to do the same thing on this one. So first I will crisscross it. That way I know that this goes in there. I'm going to open this up and just do the sewing there. I've let this ribbon dangle down so that it sticks out the bottom of the book when it's closed, and it'll look nice. And the marbled paper on this book, on the cover, when whoever receives it in real life, they'll see that there actually is a thin sliver of green in the paint of the marbled paper. So the green will look really nice with that. So hold on, and off we go again. Okay, so this one I did a little fun stuff here. I tried to do a Shinuki knot and it just didn't really quite work out. But the underneath got the Shinuki knot, I think by accident. And that's just fine too, because that gives something to look at when it gets flipped open. So that was here, because I know I did my little crisscross applesauce. Now we've got one more here. So let's cross you. So I'm just going to do some sewing across the top there. Okay, so we've done the same up here. And that one's ready to go. Let's see what 5 has. Five's got that bottom one. So what I did here was I created a pocket from a library catalog card. So I'm going to do some stitching along the bottom there. And I think that's the center. There we go. So we'll just leave that open and put those there so I know for sure. And I'll be back. Okay, so with this one, I decided to sew all the way around the edge of the pocket since the typewriter is in black. I just thought that would look nice. And it leaves the sewing on the back part. So again, I pushed down the bumps and just did a little bit of ink on it. It just, the bumps sometimes show the paper core and it will show as white. And I don't like that, so I'll do just a very faint light color. So in this case, I'm using coffee archival ink. But any light one, antique linen would work well, or even just if you've got an old, mostly dried up pad of vintage photo, that would work. All right, so this one, I want to sew around the edge of this one. So we're running late, but I really want to show you this one. This one's going to be, oh, we've got two sewing, okay. This one's going to be tricky because I have to actually open it up. Here's where the publisher, here's how I can tell nobody ever read this book, because it's in all kinds of places in the text block. The book never, the publisher never cut open the pages. So I have to open this up and sew it open. And I want to sew this, Mrs. Coggs does it a lot, so I want to actually sew right through it. And then I'll also be sewing along on this side. So I'm going to go do that and show you. And in this case, because I'm going to leave it as is, the new owner, if they want, can slice it open and have extra pages. But I think it would make a great tuck spot. And if that's the case, then the sewing for the around the edge of this envelope will never be seen on the other side. So, and same with the sewing for this little piece of lace here. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so in this case, if we open it up, there is our, I did a zigzag overlapping, so part on the page, part on the envelope, all the way around. So if I open it, you'll see there's the sewing in there. I'm not going to worry about filling this in. I suspect the new owner is going to agree with me that this is just a great tuck spot, nice and big. And the cool thing about this one is, let me find a piece of paper. Do I have a piece of paper? I glued it in also like a pocket, so they can use the envelope and they can also put things in the back there. And then on this side, again, I didn't bother finishing this side because, first of all, I think it looks quite neat and tidy already. And maybe they just want to open up one side, leave the other side as a pocket. That will be up to them. So they can, that works out fine there, and that looks nice with the zigzag on the lace, and then I switched it over to straight and go straight up there. Now we still have some more lace here, just along here, and I think I'm just going to do a straight zigzag down there, and it's in the center, so I'll just leave this open and go do that sewing. I'll be right back. All right, so in this case, I sewed from this side through, so there's no bumps to deal with because the lace hides that. So I think I'm going to put, that's just such a lovely spread like that. I think I'm going to put it in the center instead and have it like that. I'm not sure if that's how I had it in the first place, but that's the way that one's going to be. And I'm already at 38 minutes, so I'm obviously not going to be able to finish sewing the rest of these with you, but that gives you the idea of what I will often do to get finished with sewing, preliminary sewing at least, what I can get done ahead of time before I will sew together the text block. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you found that interesting. And we never did get to these. These are just extra pages that I think I'm going to have room to put in, so I'm going to do that. I look for journals at thrift stores that people have torn out. You know, they started a journal, they wrote in 2 pages and then didn't finish it and tore out their pages and donated the journal. I watch for those all the time, and you can get some great paper that way, especially paper that has, check and make sure that they had a sewn in sewn in signatures, and you're set. You're good to go. Isn't this nice? It's off-white already, and it has lines. And then I just added numbers using the stamps myself. So just looks cool. All right, I'm off, and we will get together again soon later on this week. Have a great rest of your weekend, and happy Family Day to those of you in Canada who will be celebrating Family Day tomorrow. I hope you can spend it with friends and loved ones and family, or even if you just want to have a day on your own and that sounds like a good thing, I hope that for you. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye.